Hi there. So thanks for joining me. Last Friday, I posted to say that I was going to try to post every day this week as we try to sort of work through in our own minds the various considerations that we will have to somehow resolve in terms of getting back to work in some format when the Northern Ireland property market restarts. I think I'm very conscious of the fact that the English property market seems to have started last Monday very quickly with really no warning, and I think it's potentially caught some people on the hop. So obviously today I think we have a bit of a loosening of restrictions in terms of recycling centres and garden centres. So it makes sense for us then to start to work out how we would get our conveyancing department back in operation again. Although I must stress that we still are in operation and we have been working throughout the lockdown period, but obviously with very few new cases and only a small handful of completions. I suppose the thing we're sort of thinking about here is that we know that this will happen and we need to prepare for it. And why am I using the visual prop of a piano? I suppose that is because we're going to have to work out how to do things differently, and initially that might not be a particularly easy process and it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable, but deliberate action hopefully will then become a new habit and will be much easier going forward. I took delivery of this piano on the 31st of December 2019 and I decided to make a deliberate decision to play this piano every single day, and I have played it for the last 139 days consecutively. And given the fact that there's probably no holidays this year and I'll probably be at home every day, I'm hoping to play it every single day this year. But that has now become a habit, and it started as a deliberate action. There wasn't a piano sitting here. So as I say, that's now a habit and it's just something that I've got into, and that's something which I think does sort of apply to how we're going to do conveyancing. There will be things that feel wrong to us, they feel uncomfortable, it's a different way of doing things, and yet we will have to do it until it becomes simply comfortable and the way that we do things going forward. I'm not going to do a particularly long video today, you'll be delighted to hear. I'm going to break this video up into sort of the 4 or 5 different things that I feel we need to think about. But speaking to estate agents and mortgage advisors and economists and a range of other people and stakeholders in the property market over the last week, the one thing which has really been driven home to me is the fact that during the last sort of property crisis, which was 2008, there was no particular confidence in the market. This time around, I believe that there is a level of confidence in the market because we haven't had a boom and therefore we haven't had a crash. I think the issue really for people now is actually a lack of confidence in the process, the actual process of conveyancing and the whole process of moving house. And that is what I feel that we and the estate agents and the mortgage advisors and all of the other stakeholders in the process really need to work on. We need to build in a level of confidence for our clients so that they feel that the idea of moving house is a fairly normal thing to do. And as I say, that's something that we're going to look at, both in terms of, and again, sort of the spoiler alerts for the next couple of videos this week, we're going to be looking at how we're doing things in the physical office. We're going to be looking at ourselves as a firm and how we work and how that will dovetail in with our clients. We are going to change slightly the way we actually run our conveyancing cases, and I'll talk about that on a separate day. We need to then look at the regulatory side of things, and very much in terms of how we are going to interact with other solicitors in the process. And I'm thinking there about sets of potentially a set of conditions, COVID conditions that we need to maybe implement in contracts for the sale of properties. Which will sort of build some flexibility into the process. And then we will look at some of the external challenges, the issues with land registry. I'm not talking about land registry today. There is supposed to be another statement from land registry prior to the 22nd of May. So I'm hoping that by the end of this week, that statement will be out and I'll be able to deal with that as part of these videos. Some issues with bankruptcy searches and enforcement of judgment office searches, a couple of issues with property certificates, albeit they are, I think, resolving this week. There might just be a tiny bit of a backlog. But the main thing, I think, that just sort of round up this, the main thing we need to think of here is the fact that vendors and purchasers up the chain and down the chain will need to be significantly more flexible. Yes, they will have to have confidence in the process, but we will require a degree of flexibility so that if there is an issue, for example, on the day of completion, just as I say, for example, someone in the chain wakes up in the morning and exhibits COVID-19 symptoms, then there has to be a recognition that completion may well be delayed at the last minute, and everyone is going to have to sign up to that. So there's all sorts of things that we do need to think about. But as I say, and as the reason for the sort of the prop of the piano is the fact that we will, as a profession and as a firm, and just as individual practitioners, have to get comfortable with doing things slightly differently. The more we do those, the more they will become comfortable to us, and the more they will become a habit. You might think at this point I'm going to play you a tune on the piano. I'm not, because as has been pointed out the last time I played the piano on LinkedIn, this is not Facebook. So hopefully this is enough of a spoiler or a taster for what I'm going to be talking about for the rest of this week. As ever, if you have any comments or want to raise any queries or questions with me directly, please feel free to direct message me, and see you tomorrow. Thank you.